Hello everyone. I don't know how to start videos, so let's just start. 2021. Yeah. I didn't really do as much as I was kind of hoping that I would do this year when it comes to like author things. Like I had everything set up. I was gonna do a Patreon. I was gonna do like writing like, oh God, what are they called? Vignettes on like my characters from my first book. I had all these things planned. Like I had like all these things set up. And then I realized I have a mortgage and I need to help pay that mortgage. So I did a complete 180-degree career change in the middle of an international move from Germany back to the US. Yeah, so in February, my wife and I moved from Germany back to the States. So we're now living in sunny, hot Georgia. And it's 77 degrees outside on December 27th. I miss snow. So we made that move. And around the same time, I started a program. My cat's meowing at me. Stop! Anyway. I decided that I was going to go from a career in anti-money laundering, niche, to cybersecurity. Because why not? So I got accepted into a program that had 3 back-to-back super intense boot camp style training with like corresponding certificate exams. And I was super, super grateful and lucky to have gotten the opportunity to do that. So I pretty much dug in, and that consumed all my time, like all of my time. I was exhausted like every day from doing that because I didn't have a background in tech. So it's a lot to learn. It's like drinking water out of a fire hose pretty much. And then around June-ish, I got accepted into an apprenticeship for cybersecurity, for like women in cybersecurity. So I got additional training that way. So on top of doing my classes, I was now doing this. And so I had no time. Like, it was rough. Shit was rough. I finally got a new job, and I started that in November. Yes, November. So I started a new job as a cybersecurity analyst in November. And then I needed shoulder surgery in November. I can do things. I can do some things now, like a chicken wing. And so you might be wondering, hey Megan, what has this done to your writing? It's bad. It's been bad. I was trying really, really hard to like go with the momentum from when I released my book in September of 2020. I'm like, all right, I've launched it. It's going. We're all set. I'm gonna hit the ground running with book 2 and just go. Like, let's just write this thing. And then all that I just told you happened, and my writing took a hit. Like, it got torpedoed. Like, it was so bad. Not only could I not think of anything to write, but I just didn't have, I was so tired from studying and preparing for exams that I didn't even have the motivation to write. Like, I would wake up in the morning and just, I'm not very good at like thinking creatively and then pivoting real quick to like technical stuff and then back and forth. Like, my brain's like, no, you focus on one and you do that. You find time to do the other shit later. So because I was doing so much like tech heavy shit, I could like not get in the right mindset to do anything creative. And my writing pretty much got fucked in the process. One good thing that really came out of this year was that Tantor Media reached out to me about converting my book into an audiobook. And going audio was something that I've always wanted to do, and I always anticipated having to pay out of pocket for it because pretty much for the first book, that's how everything was. I literally paid out of pocket for everything. The editor, cover art, pretty much everything I paid for. So I was preparing to like, okay, I'm gonna go searching for an audio, like a narrator. I had to buy new ISBNs with those little, codes that go in the back. So it's like, okay, should I do it just in digital? Should I do it in hardcover as well with discs? So it's like a whole new world of bullshit to deal with. And at that point, it was the furthest thing from my mind. But Tantor Media reached out to me, made me an offer. We went back and forth. I was anxious because it was my first real contract relating to my writing, and I've never had that before. So like, I was apprehensive and a little scared as a new author, and I'm like, I don't know what's good, I don't know what's bad, I don't want to be taken advantage of, I don't want to lose the rights of my story or my characters. Like, that's like a nightmare scenario for me. But I was like, you know what? I read through the contract, I trust it, so let's do this. And so they got working on it, and sure as shit, December 21st of this year, just last week, it was released. Here. It was released here. And the woman who narrated it, Marni Penning, just amazing. She did such a great job. I've like reached out to her multiple times, fangirling, like being like, oh my god, I love what you did, it was so incredible. And I'm not even kidding. It was listening to this audio. First off, I was extremely anxious about listening to the audiobook. I don't know why. My rational part of my brain thought, it's your book, you literally wrote it, why are you afraid to listen to it? And the irrational part of my brain was like, what if people hate it? I was afraid that the voices in my head and kind of the emphasis that I was trying to, like the different emotions I was trying to portray through dialogue, just my writing in general, I was afraid that it wouldn't come across well. It wasn't that I didn't trust the narrator. She did, but this is my first time, this was my first time doing any kind of audio format. So, as much as I want to be like, she's a professional narrator, she does this for a living, my lizard brain is like, but what if it's bad? What if it is really like awful and everyone hates it and it bombs and no one wants to do any kind of deal with you again? So I sat down and I listened to it, and if there was anything that kickstarted my writing thinking brain again, it was listening to the audiobook and listening to Marni's amazing, spot on, interpretations and voices of my characters. And listening to that, I'm like, all right, let's go. And so ever since I listened to the audiobook, I've been like hitting the ground running. I've been writing every day. It's flowed well. And like, writers know the flow, right? When you don't feel the flow, anything that you write, so like what I had written before, or what I tried to write before, it felt like the equivalent of trying to like swim upstream. Like, you're making progress, but it's like you're straining for it. It's not comfortable. Like, it doesn't feel right. But when you feel that true connection with what you're writing, you're going in the right direction. Like, it's so smooth, it flows, and that's kind of where I've finally hit back to. So I'm so happy. Thank you, Marni. But yeah, so I am working on the second book now. I am trying very, very hard to get this manuscript done in 2022. I'm trying very hard because I am still fully employed as a cybersecurity analyst with my full-time job. So I'm doing this when I'm not working, and that can be challenging. So I'm really trying to hammer it out, make sure that the manuscript is done for next year, and I'll be working with an editor again, most likely. I don't know if they'll be with the same one, but we'll see. So working with editors, reaching out to my beta readers, you know who you are and I love you, to read through it, give me feedback, and I'll hopefully have a nice polished product, hopefully, fingers crossed, by the end of 2022 for publication. Also, I reached out to an agent to see if she wanted to work with me, and I haven't heard back yet. So, most likely it'll be self-published again. Unless, the stars align and I'm able to get some kind of publishing deal, which I don't think I'm going to get a publishing deal. I'm well aware, very self-aware that I am there's a plane flying overhead. It's great living near an airport. I am fully aware that I've only published one book. It's self-published. I've been so busy with my full-time work and training and pretty much getting a paycheck so I can pay bills and be alive, that I've not marketed a lot. I've not really done ads for my book. I pretty much just have social media, word of mouth, and my website. That's pretty much all I have. So I know I'm teeny tiny and not very noticeable. I'm hoping that my books will speak for themselves eventually, and that word of mouth will, do its thing eventually. So people recommending, friend to friend, to family, what have you, that they've really liked it and that they pass it on. For me, it's not really, it's not about the money. It's about giving people stories that they really enjoy. My wife doesn't like hearing that because we spent a lot of money self-publishing my book. So she's like, stop thinking that way. You have to get something back financially, which, yes, I get it. But good news, we're actually in the black after being in the red for like half a year after self-publishing. So we've made back what we've spent. So I'd say that's successful in my opinion. It's not enough to be, a full-time author, but it's good. And I feel good. I'm happy. I'm really, really pleased with the direction that the second book is going in. I actually have another book completely separate from the series that I'm writing right now that I've written like 3/4 of it. It was years ago for a NaNoWriMo, and I just never finished it. So I'm hoping to publish that over the next few years as well. I've heard that it's good to like juggle two projects, because when your brain gets tired from one project, you can just go to the other and then just kind of bounce back and forth. But we'll see. But yeah, and then hopefully I can start using my shoulder more normally again, because unfortunately I did a lot of my brainstorming and like working scenes through my head while listening to music while I worked out, while I lifted weights. And I haven't been able to lift weights in like a year. So actually, yeah, my shoulder injury coincides with my writing brain pretty much bunking out on me. So I hope to be able to get back on the weights soon, because first off, look at where I was. Look at this. Look at this. I want to get back to that. And I miss being able to just lift weights, listen to music, and just brainstorm and just work through scenes in my head. So, but anyway, I've talked long enough. I hope that everyone has had a good 2021. I know it's been really kind of rough on most people. We're still in a pandemic. And as I'm recording this, I'm actually still waiting to hear back on a second COVID test. So I'm in isolation. I spent Christmas in isolation with my wife. So yeah, it's rough. And I just want to thank you guys for all the support that you've thrown my way, and for purchasing the book or listening to the book. I highly recommend the audiobook. I almost kind of want to say that it's better in audio form than in text, because Marni did such an amazing job with the voices that it's just so good. But I'll leave that up to you. That's for you to decide, but I highly recommend the audiobook. Thank you for your support. I'm really trying to get more content out over the next year. I would like to cut back on other things that are tying up my time in my life, so I can dedicate more to like setting up a Patreon and you know, being able to write those vignettes that I kind of wanted to write, and, you know, little short stories that I can, you know, give to patrons and publish and everything. And write more blog posts or make more of these where I'm just blathering out, on and on about, you know, writing stuff. But and maybe one day, if the stars align, I can actually be a full-time author. Have an amazing new year. I hope everyone is happy and well and healthy, and wear a mask and get vaccinated. And buy my book. Just buy my audiobook. It's really good. And Marni did an amazing job. And yep, thank you. This is a test. I'm testing the audio. I'm testing the video. I'm testing the sound quality. Background noise. I'm whispering. Can you hear the plane? The fucking planes? Because I live near an airport. They're gonna be coming like every 10 minutes. Can you hear Anakin?